Hey, my name's James Nixon. I hope you're well. In this video, I want to talk about where's the cheapest place to buy property in the UK. And I thought, what better way to do that than let's just give you a list. Let's talk about all the regions of the UK and talk about the costs of buying in those areas. Now, what this will also highlight is that as we move into a property downturn, some places might not be hit as bad as others, because affordability is still there in certain areas, especially, for example, the north. And so we're going to jump into that. We're going to give you all the data and more. So while you're here, if you haven't done already, do make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification. I'm desperate to hit 7,000 subscribers this week. I'm very close. Have a look around the video. You can see that we're that close. And maybe it's your subscription that gets us to 7,000. If it is, let me know in the comments. And make sure you smash the like button, guys, because we're trying to hit 100,000 views in August. We're that close. And so your like could help us get there. So, property prices. There's always been this big north-south divide, with houses in the north being relatively cheap compared to the south, especially London, right? Where prices are going to be significantly higher. And so what's also happened in history in previous crashes. So the 2008 crash was really devastating to the north. In fact, some people were still in negative equity until fairly recently, while the south bounced back fairly quickly. And that was because back in the day, 2006, 2007, you could get 110% mortgage, meaning you buy a 100 grand house, they'll lend you 110, then the prices went down 20%. Your house is now worth 80, but you owe £110,000. It was crazy, really, really difficult times. And so with the pandemic, with the internet, life's changed a little bit. And so people are moving around the country a little bit more than they used to. A good friend of mine, I've mentioned this a few times on videos, a good friend of mine is a banker in London, and one of his colleagues has moved all the way to Yorkshire, and now they've sold a flat in London that was worth hundreds of thousands of pounds, and they've now got a house in I think it's Doncaster, on the outskirts of Doncaster, so in Yorkshire, with acres of land, huge property, and horses, which is crazy, right? And so they're still doing the same job, getting a London wage. And so that's interesting to see. So affordability is going to vary on regions. But let's have a look at what the average price is. So let's look at the northeast first. So the average house price in the northeast is £186,000, 144 pounds. So 186,144. So let's just be realistic about this. If the market, like some people say, potentially could drop 30%, might not hit the northeast at 30%. Other areas maybe, but I think the northeast is going to be a little bit more resilient, because yes, 184 is fairly high, but you can buy houses for 50 grand or 100 grand still quite easily, especially in Doncaster and Hull and those sorts of areas. You can still buy relatively affordable housing, and the multiple of your wage and the output from your wage is not too difficult for people. Let's look at Scotland next. And so Scotland, the average price is £190,305. Now, if you look at places like Edinburgh, that brings that average up significantly, but there are some areas in Scotland very cheap, some that are relatively expensive. But 190,000 is affordable for a lot of people. But I do know that the big cities are struggling. Let's look at York and the Humber. And so York and the Humber, the average house price is £244,323. And so that's significantly higher than the northeast in general. But you've got some big places like Leeds and stuff like that in those areas, which prices can be quite pricey in those areas. Where else have we got? So we've got the Northwest. So the Northwest average house prices sit at 253,859. So, yeah, that's expensive. It's getting more expensive in those areas. So they could be more hit. I don't know if Manchester, I guess Manchester comes into those areas. So they could be hit with house prices going down significantly more than, for example, the North East. Let's look at Wales. Wales, I saw in some recent content, has dropped a little bit, more than people were expecting. They thought Wales would be more resilient, but Wales is currently sitting at the average is £257,090. So obviously you've got big cities like Cardiff that bring that up. A lot of the rural areas are still fairly cheap. So if you buy a cheaper property, I just feel you're not going to get hit so badly by this. East Midlands, we have average house prices at 285,000. While we haven't got to London yet, obviously we're going to get to London, which is going to be the most expensive. But why don't you comment below, have a guess, what do you think the average is going to be in London before we get to the London stats? Make sure you do that. And if you have got this far in the video, make sure you like it. That really helps me with YouTube. Remember, trying to get 100,000 views this month. You can help. Let's look at the Southwest. I've got family in the Southwest. So Southwest is getting pricey. 384,182. A lot of that's going to be driven by Bristol. Bristol is very expensive. A lot of people want to live there. People move from London. My cousin moved from London to Bristol, as did most of their friends, because they got priced out of London. They felt they got similar vibes in Bristol. And so that makes a big difference there. Obviously, you've got Bath as well, which is quite expensive. There are pockets of the Southwest that are affordable, though. So Southwest prices, that's where they're at. East of England. Okay, so in the East of England, prices are high. 418,000 on average, 980. Wow. It's a lot, isn't it? For an average house price, that's crazy high there. Not much going on in that area, so not so many houses, pushes prices up, and there's some nice properties there as well. That makes a difference. Southeast, that's where I'm based. The southeast of England, we've got the average, crazy high, 481,452. Great big number there. Really, really, that's going to make that's where, when you've got these big numbers, it means affordability is not there, so you've got potential for a drop. That's what I see there. Next, London. So what did you guess? Did you comment? If you didn't, last chance. London, the average house price, this is insane, 672,961. That's why London prices have been going down, because affordability is just not there. Now, London goes up because you get foreign investors. You've got big properties there, so that's going to bring the average up. I mean, it's not inconceivable to find a house that's worth 20 million, 50 million, even 100 million properties. So that brings the average up significantly. But it's crazy, isn't it, that you've got these absolutely high prices. First-time buyers are absolutely priced out of that market. We need to build in these areas. And so that's what's going to make the difference, because a lot of people watching this channel want prices to drop. That's going to happen, surely. But what you don't want is just a huge crash. And what's going to bring the prices down so they're more competitive is if we build stuff, right? If we build more property, then that will make a big, big difference. So let me know what you thought. Do you think these are right? How did you expect them to be in your area? I'd love to know your thoughts and comments. Which area do you think is going to get hit hardest with price drops? Do comment below. Do get involved. Do like the video. Do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. Check out all the other content. If you watch one more video, you'll help me get that 100,000 views. So why not check out this one right here?